r/ask Reddit. What are some stupid mentalities and mindsets that need to end? The concept that both fault and responsibility can only be 100% or 0%, and that if someone else has some fault it absolves another of all responsibility. I'm being persecuted when I am contradicted. My daughter would loudly protest, stop yelling at me, when I would calmly tell her things she didn't want to hear. She grew out of it, but some people never do. That if I change my mind or opinion about something I'm being fake or phony. Paraphrased from a book series Stormlight Archives by Sanderson. Don't confuse hypocrisy with growth. That anything but perfection is a failure. Progress is often incremental and takes time. If you're not 100% with us, you're 100% against us. My opinion is as good as your evidence. This, or that everyone's opinions are equally valid. No, the guy who has a PhD and 10 years of experience in the field's opinion is more valid than your 10 minutes Google search. I half-jokingly blame movies for this, wherein the professional with years of experience is always wrong, and the plucky kid with a dream is always right. You're entitled to speak your mind. You're not entitled to have people listen, comply, or care. Stop comparing traumas. It's not a ducking competition. Learn to have empathy and take care of each other's mental health. I'd also add not to compare stresses. At work I have been stressed the hell out for many reasons, but other co-workers just shrug off my complaints with the phrases, oh, you don't have kids or are not even in a relationship. What do you have to be stressed about? That if you are a salaried employee and don't finish your work on time, you have to work unpaid overtime until it's complete. But if at another time, you complete all of your work early and there's literally nothing left to be done, you're not allowed to leave and instead have to sit at your desk doing nothing until you get in your 40 hours for the week. Employees should either be paid to have their ass in a seat for 40 hours, no more, no less, or be paid to complete a certain set of work regardless of whether it takes 30 hours or 50 hours. This BS double standard that you're paid to complete a task, not for a certain number of hours when there's extra work, but are paid to be there for a certain number of hours, not to complete a task then leave when there's less work, needs to end. Assuming that people are not allowed to change their opinions or values over time, and judging people, famous or not, for comments made decades ago. Yes, some people have patterns of problematic comments and behavior and should not be ignored, but it also makes sense that, for example, a politician may have learned more about abortion or healthcare or what have you and be able to change their stance. We are not the same people at 25 and 50. Or that if you change your opinion based on new evidence that you are somehow dumb, weak, or your opinion no longer matters. Broadcasting everything in social media. I have cut way back on my social media presence. There is absolutely no reason why everyone that I have ever met throughout my life needs to know every detail of everything that is going on in my life. If you don't listen to every song or know everything about a band, you are not a real fan. I read about it on the internet, therefore it's true. My grandma does this all the time to prove her argument and it always ends up being from some BuzzFeed article. Drives me ducking nuts. Or people will cherry pick quotes and not include the contradictory explanatory evidence in the next sentence. This mentality of older people in industries refusing to train or teach younger people, then complaining when younger people don't know what they are doing. I deal with this constantly at work. I'm a young guy in my industry and I am the exception to the norm. Most fire investigators are older guys. They constantly ask me why there aren't more young fire investigators, and I always tell them the same thing. Because you guys made it so difficult to get into the industry by requiring certifications that require 5 years experience to get, require 2 core testimonies to get, and so on, that no one can get into the industry. And then if someone does manage to break in, you guys treat them like crap, refuse to help them, and refuse to teach them what they need to know. There are a ton of critical industries in the United States that are going to have issues because the barriers to getting into the industry are so high and those already in it are so elitist that there's going to be no one who knows what they are doing left to continue the work. It's a major problem. Teach young people. Bring them in. Show them the ways. Don't be a ducking dong. Expecting everything instantly. Patience is a virtue. You're not going to die if you have to wait in line. People who oppose good things because I struggled through it and so should you. Instead of thinking good, nobody should go through that if possible. Currently struggling with a difficult fussy baby. My mom refuses me any sympathy because apparently as a baby 30 plus years ago I made the selfish, conscious choice to be less than easy myself. I mean, I can't change anything so I'm not going to try it. There is this whole work culture expectation now of always being reachable by email or text for whatever happens. A lot of places expect, and at times demand, that you be pretty much on call even when you're not at the office anymore. I worked at an ad agency where days off sometimes didn't even feel like that, because I would still be getting emails about things and was expected to be checking them. I hated it. There should be some level of balance between work and personal life, and I feel like that is fading because so many places are adapting this type of culture and mentality, especially startups. Whenever I've had an interview of decent quality, one of the last questions is if there's anything I'd like to ask them about. I've successfully taken that opportunity to mention my thoughts on this exact issue. Employment is a two-way street. If you expect me to come into work as a professional and leave my personal life at the door, then I expect a similar treatment in return. Of course, emergencies happen and there is always an exception. But I work to live, not live to work. If you don't like someone, you must be just jealous. Also, the things you don't like about other people are the things you don't like about yourself. It's true sometimes, but some people treat this as an absolute. That you need to stay in contact with all of your family members even though some of them are incredibly toxic. I cut ties with my mom about a year ago, but I'm too afraid to talk about it for fear of being judged or the social stigma around it. That being said, my life is much less stressful and I still think it was the right choice. It's been over a decade since I talked to my mother. My life is better in every way. You know what's best for you. I get it, though. I've felt judged because of this. In fact, it would have been 20 plus years if my ex-wife hadn't convinced me to talk to her again based upon her misunderstanding of that relationship. She regretted it almost instantly, and it took me a year to shake her back off. Everybody that doesn't get along with you or agree with you is toxic. People are starting to expect being around nobody but people that agree with them, like a constant feedback bubble on social media, but in real life. Just because I'm young doesn't mean I don't need sufficient sleep. Just because I'm young doesn't mean I spend all of my money recklessly and need to work overtime every weekend. Just because I'm young doesn't mean I don't want to relax at home on my time off. I hear a lot of shit at work because I work with mostly older people. I budget my money wisely and in a sense I also budget my time. Apparently those concepts are hard to understand. I feel you. So hard. An older, retired person once told me at the street, I was sitting there, on some stairs, eating a bagel, that I am the scum that needs to be gotten rid of because I am young, yet sitting there eating, and not working full time. I was 17 at the time, not even an adult. Granted, my beard made me look like a 25-year-old but still. Some people think that just because a person looks normal, they don't have a disability and must be lying. Can confirm. Dyspraxic. Incredibly normal looking dunt. People say I just use it as an excuse and that I am quote full of shit so I never tell anyone anymore. Except for right now obviously. Alcoholism being romanticized. No, it's pretty terrible to be honest. I feel like shit today. I want to stop drinking but I know I'm gonna drink more today. If you aren't a criminal you don't need to worry about the cops. And the related you don't need privacy if you've nothing to hide. When people post their opinion about something on social media and then say they don't want a debate, people who disagree will be unfriended, etc. I usually save them the step and delete them, but it still freaks me out that people are that unwilling to disagree, discuss, learn, etc. The customer is always right. Customers are idiots most of the time. If you can't handle me at my worst then you don't deserve me at my best. Sometimes someone's worst is an absolute deal breaker and needing to cut ties and move on doesn't mean that that person doesn't deserve the good things that come from a better relationship. That showing emotion makes you weak, especially men. Let women be angry and men be sad. Defining people by their jobs. The 40-hour work week. Using automation to hurt instead of help. Bootlicking to bosses who do not and will not care about you. The productivity-centric social expectations. Something I notice in the gym is the no pain, no gain mentality is rampant. It is good to feel soreness and tightness after and during your workout, but working yourself to pain hinders your progress immensely. CrossFit takes this to an extreme, encouraging people to work out until total failure, which can result in severe injury. Working out shouldn't be painful. One wrong tear and you're toast. If we do not agree politically, then you are an enemy that needs to be destroyed. That if someone holds a particular belief, they must hold the most extreme possible version of that belief. If I tailgate the person in front of me, they'll go faster. What a great mentality to have if you want to rear-end someone. Musicians, actors, athletes are so good because they are so talented, instead of acknowledging the hard work they put into it every day. Life is not often zero-sum. Winning does not have to come at the expense of someone else losing. I think people need to start recognizing when win-win situations are available and pursue them more vigorously. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.